sucked, but okay.
That's going to be a problem. But with the audio, this is why I'm enjoying doing this because since I'm recording straight to my PC and you're recording straight to your laptop Chromebook thingy, whatever it is.
Well, no, I got a desktop.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
Nice. When did you do that?
Last December, I think.
Oh, you didn't tell me about that.
Oh, my bad.
This whole time I thought you were still using that old ancient Chromebook thingy you bought.
Oh God, no. That thing sucked.
Well, for 300
Those
bucks, what do you expect?
300. No, 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 no. That was 120 bucks.
Oh, I thought you spent a little 300. Never mind. Okay, yeah. So hang on. Correction for $120, which is even worse than 300. What do you expect?
Yeah, yeah. No, totally. I get you.
Well, what are you rocking in this desktop you've been keeping from me?
What am I? What?
What are you rocking in the internals of that desktop?
It's a 3.4 gigahertz compute. Hold on, let me. Uh, where is it?
I
Where is
don't
it?
know.
Where's my computer? There it is. I don't have it memorized. I actually don't use this thing that much. So, 3.5 gigahertz, 6 gigabytes of RAM, 64-bit op operating system,
Hmm. What Windows are you on?
Windows 10.
You bastard.
It kind of, no, it kind of forced me to upgrade, which is like whatever.
You've had a
If I
PC this
must,
whole time. We've been playing on PS4s. How dare you?
I'm not gonna game on this PC, dude. The only thing I use on this PC is X-Plane 10,
Do you not have a graphics
because I
card?
no, I don't.
Okay.
It's just like standard stock bullshit.
Also, like an office PC.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So Minecraft is probably too much for you.
Oh yeah, definitely. My computer would be like a steaming pile of gears.
Can you play solitaire?
Maybe. I'll probably get stuck on the final animation though.
Oh, I love the final animation. Anywho, um, shall I introduce this time? Because I have a funny joke about why you're back.
Do it. Go for it.
Which,
You won't. You won't.
before I start, did you listen to last week's? I mean, well, the last one. Sorry, I can't say last week, even though it was last week.
Y- Yeah, it's kind of sad that it was all screwed up, but you know, Skype is what it is.
Yeah, but did you hear my joke about you though?
Oh yeah. Okay, so you got multiple sores. Good for you.
Well, I mean about the affirmative action hire. I don't need you anymore, type thing.
Oh right, yes, that bit.
Because
Okay,
that's
go ahead.
gonna lead into my joke today about why you're back.
I am so excited.
Anywho, let me get into the moment to introduce you and whatnot. And as I'm doing that, I'm gonna load up the Google Drive doc. I'm using my phone, by the way, which I need to put on vibrate.
Oh yeah, same here. Good reminder. I'm
Yeah,
actually just gonna mute it all the way because my vibration is quite strong.
mine is like pathetically wimpy. Like even on my like thigh when I'm gaming, I won't feel the vibration unless I'm like butt naked. Like it has to be like phone to skin contact.
Uh
It's
huh.
very weak. Like going from an iPhone to this phone, like an iPhone in my pants, I knew it was going off. Like it was scary strong.
Mm-hmm.
Like blow my cock off strong.
Oh god.
You won't get the reference.
Probably not.
Yeah. Anywho,
Unfortunately.
unfortunately, you're lame. That's not actually unfortunate.
Yeah, because if I was awesome, why would I need you?
Pretty much. If you were awesome, good God, I could not imagine being Marco.
Exactly.
Anywho, okay. Hello and welcome to the Triggercast. I'm Manuel, and I could give a rat's ass what your gender is. I don't care. Um, this week we have Marco back because according to the NAACP, unfortunately, Dan, being an attack chopper, isn't recognized as a minority officially and legally. So I needed an affirmative action hire. So Marco, welcome back.
Glad to be here
You sound so enthused.
as a minority representative. And I'm kind of surprised that the double A, what was it? The double, what?
And National Association for the Advancement of Color People, NAACP.
Those people, the NAACP, wouldn't allow you to hire a veteran. If you're an attack chopper, I assume you've seen some action. Now that you're back on U.S. soil, you can't hire them? What the fuck? That's weird. I
What?
disagree. But I'm glad to be back on the show as a minority hire.
In Canada.
Location don't matter.
We've outsourced American for Canadian soil.
That sucks.
Yeah.
If you can't find an American to do the same thing I do, I don't know what America's coming to.
I don't know. It's scary. Okay.
Because all I do is talk. I just have a little bit of personality to go with it.
I think it's because of the color of your skin.
Hmm.
That seems to matter in America these days.
Only these days, right?
That was great.
Anyway.
Do you want to, because several points in our drive doc, like I combined number 6, because if you're gonna make that point, I'll just interject with my point
Mm-hmm.
if you're on the doc, and then your 8 and 10, like my 8 and your 10 are the same, so we can probably do those simultaneously.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to open with the PSN stuff first?
Sure. I mean, it's only one store and everything, so I don't know how people are gonna feel like going back to just one store after you gave them so many options.
I know, right? I don't know how they
I
could do
didn't
one
expect
store.
you to- All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are headed over to the PlayStation Network to see what's new. And I hate to say it, but this week's lineup is looking fucking weak. With the exception of one game. Can you guess which game that is?
I could care less simulator.
No, but I bet you play that all the time. It's Ukulele! The 90s are back, baby! It's another all-new open-world platform from genre veterans Playtonic. It's basically, what I've heard is that it's a spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie. It's very, very similar. Do you remember Banjo-Kazooie?
I love Banjo-Kazooie.
I love me some Banjo-Kazooie myself.
N64, motherfucker.
Yeah, well, actually, I had to emulate it because I never had an N64.
Thief.
Anyway, do you remember the thing they did when the dialogue was going? They would just kind of like, wah, 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 wah,
Yes.
wah. It's back in Ukulele.
And does each character have, like, that tone changes for the character? Like the bird and the bear and the witch? Like,
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
A couple of you might be interested in the fact that Stardew Valley Collector's Edition is out on retail now. Nothing important there.
I've always taken that game as like Harvest Moon, like
Yeah,
pixelated.
totally. But outside of that, there's a couple of funny looking ones like Hero Blaster and Lichtspeer,
What?
which I believe is German for light spear.
Oh, okay.
There's Dovetail Games Eurofishing, which sounds riveting as fuck.
Yes, you have me on the edge of my seat there.
But there's nothing that's catching my eye, unfortunately. Besides Ukulele, there's that. But even then, it's a little too childish looking for me to get into it. It almost looks like Skylanders for Spyro.
That is a good comparison.
So I appreciate it for being what it is, but it's not something that I'm dying to play.
What are you dying to play?
Recently, I'm dying to play Red Dead 2.
Who isn't? That's too easy.
Yeah, seriously. Okay, well, that's what I'm feeling right now, okay? But definitely looking forward to Red Dead 2. I'm hoping for more information on that. And I have a I have a point. Point number 2 is going to be another one that I'm looking forward to, but we'll get to that part.
Yes. What you're really looking forward to, but you won't admit publicly, is Metal Gear Survive.
Oh, no, dude. No, fuck off. Fuck right off with your Metal Gear Survive.
Triggered.
Definitely triggered. I'm keeping count.
You know what I realized? Dan and I never did the whole score things. I wasn't sure how it goes. Like with you, it's just you're the one who does it. And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty
I
much.
just go based on a tone. And I'm like, I guess he's triggered.
Definitely triggered right now. Damn it.
Oh man. So I'm actually very curious because last podcast Dan and I did the whole Scorpio thing.
Oh, yeah?
Because I didn't because it was more relevant to the fact that the sorry, the
Take your time.
specs were revealed the day before we did the podcast. And I know
Right.
so Dan and I went into it, the general consensus being lack of first party and whatnot is a big problem. And on
Mm-hmm.
paper, the specs do trump the PS4 Pro.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing where they have like common ground is the processor, and the processor is still a Jaguar processor. It's just
Yep.
slightly higher overclocked from 2.3 to 2.1, in terms of
Mm-hmm.
Scorpio 2.3, PS4 Pro 2.1. So I mean,
Right.
CPU bound tasks, like say the Cry engine, which is very CPU dependent, it's
Yeah.
still gonna show. I mean, you can pump up all the muscle, but the brain is still kind of like slow. So I mean,
Yeah.
CPU bound tasks, processors, these consoles are gonna perform about similar because I mean, all they got was a slight overclock. You know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So with that said, I'm very curious on your point. Like, as yes, everybody knows you are the Sony pony. Haha, I made it rhyme. Um, but what's your take? Let's go with that.
So my take on this is, it's not worth the power that you're getting in the Scorpio. People that already have the PS Pro, which is selling better than we expected, to be honest. When this thing came out, we didn't expect it to sell because of how good the PS4 was doing. Everybody already had a PS4. Getting a slight improvement didn't seem to be a good investment, but people did it amazingly. I don't know why. I would love to see Sony's stats on that. But my point is, just like you said, things that are CPU dependent are not going to work as well, or not going to seem to work as well on Scorpio. Reason being, yeah, it's slightly faster, but the engines that we're using are still catered to the last generation or this mid-generation thing that we're doing. So, as a developer, let's say you put out, I don't know, give me an easy one, Far Cry 5. Let's go with Far Cry 5, right? And you spec it to the PS4 Pro's CPU. The only thing that you're going to be doing is porting it over to the Scorpio. You're not really going to be taking advantage of that zero point 0.2 gigahertz CPU boost, right? You're not going to want to. It's going to be too much investment, too much time for not a whole lot of difference. Where I do see an improvement, and this is just me, is the 4K UHD Blu-ray. Sounds awesome. I think that's going to be the next new standard, but it's kind of stupid to put it out in a mid-generation console.
Yeah,
I think.
you're right on that one because that's what.
So,
Sorry.
so I don't think it's going to outperform the PS4 Pro. And especially like you guys were saying on the other podcast that you excluded me from for being a fucking minority. Just saying. Not that I'm bitter or anything.
Oh no.
Is that there's no motivation as a developer to put your games on Scorpio as a first party because Microsoft has been, kind of fucking the dog on that one. Why did you cancel Scalebound? It looked like a shitty game, but there's nothing out there, man.
They're stupid.
So, is Project Scorpio going to get games? Yeah, absolutely. Every console that comes out is going to get games. Are they going to take full advantage of what the Scorpio does? No, not at all.
Now I have a question. if the tables were turned, because right now Sony's 2-1, 2-1 or 3-1 in the sales, since Microsoft
Mm-hmm.
doesn't fully reveal and has to be guesswork from other companies where they're really at in terms of sales. If this was
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft dominating again, you know,
Right.
um, would we actually try and take full utilization of it? Because like my argument with the PS4, the Sony stance is Sony has the market share right now, just like Android, iPhone, and whatnot.
Yep.
So most games are going to be catered to where they can get the most sales, like God
Exactly.
of War 2 on the PS2, Dark
Mm-hmm.
Souls 2 on PS3. There are more
Yep.
PS4s out there, so how we're not supposed to be making games above PS4 right now because we're trying to still cater to the highest number. So we're not fully
Correct.
utilizing the PS4 Pro either. Hence why boost
Mm-hmm.
mode's out for games that are getting patched for this fully utilization.
Yep.
Um, Now, if Microsoft had the full market share, where do you think we'd go here?
I think this generation would have been a lot shorter than it's being right now. I think that they would have put out a new Xbox console already, but that's just because we can only assume, right?
All right.
Uh as far as PlayStation doing the same thing that Scorpio's doing, I don't think it would have. I think it would have taken the back burner, kind of cut its losses like it did with the PS3, and then jumped over to the next generation. That's just what I assume. I don't know numbers. I don't have any insider information on this one. That's just what I assume would happen.
Yeah.
Or
Mm-hmm.
here's a twist of events. They might have put more effort behind their portable market, so the Vita might have survived a little longer.
Mm, yeah, the Vita that goes into point one too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It just this whole mid-generation thing. It's like it's kind of signaling that consoles are starting to become antiquated in a way because of way technology's so rapidly advancing these days. Like a 5 year console cycle is like almost becoming infeasible now.
Yeah.
That's how I'm interpreting this. And this isn't just a PC perspective. This is like you remember the tablet boost of like 2010 2011 when laptops were being threatened by these tablets. You know how fast
Yeah.
tablets were advancing. Well,
Yep.
if you look at phones these days, my phone is more powerful than a Vita, and it's probably on par with the PS3 at this point.
Yeah.
So I think they're just and I do agree with Sony. I mean, there were a mass exodus from the PS4 to the PC. I'm one of them, and I think this whole mid-generation thing is crap. We need people to stay, and Sony's handling it better in terms of their first-party success. They're doing what, one or two first-party games a year, whereas Sony's
Yeah.
like meh. I mean, sorry, Microsoft's like meh. Who needs first-party? Who needs indie? Who needs third-party? What are we doing?
Where are the games? They're sitting at the big conference table and saying like, we don't need first party and we don't need third party either.
Hell, we don't even need
Then everybody's sitting
1080p.
there like, what does that leave us? Who do we have second party?
What is second party?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's where I stand on this. Oh.
So I actually had this conversation with a few different people where I was really annoyed first of all with the PS4 Pro coming out because Sony's PS4 was already doing so well. It was like it's as it stands right now, it's at like 50 million consoles in the wild out there.
That's a lot of
So
Pokeballs.
like it's huge. Why would you need? It's like okay, let me put it to you this way. Let's say let's say there's a sink, a faucet, right? All you need it to do is crank out water. And it does that very, very well. Water comes out, no problem. And all of a sudden, the same guys that sold you that faucet are telling you that now we're going to give you a second faucet, a smaller faucet. It's not going to be as good as the first faucet, but it adds on. You can now use two streams at the same time. people that have that faucet already, they're going to be like, I don't need another one. I already got used to this. I do my dishes, no problem. Why do I need a second one? And then there's going to be a few people that are like, hey, okay, second faucet, no problem. We'll try out the second faucet, see how far it takes us. And, okay, it's all right. I don't really need it. I don't really use it. And nobody's giving me a reason to put on the second faucet, but it's there. That's pretty much the most simple analogy I could come up with.
I love how you went home improvement on this.
Yeah, I don't know why I went with that. Like, I'm looking at a bike right now, and that would have made way more sense.
Yes. But I'm on VG charts to give a quick sales figure for you because you said PS4 sales, you're not sure. According to VG charts, the PlayStation 4 total sales are 55 million units. Xbox...
It's 5 million off.
Huh?
No big deal.
Yeah. No big deal.
5 million off. No big deal.
5 million
Whatever.
times $300. I mean, that's no biggie.
Nah.
And the Xbox
cares.
One is at 28 million, but is that like where they think it's at? Is that official? Who knows? Microsoft won't reveal.
I really doubt that Microsoft would reveal a number that small.
I doubt it.
If it is an actual number, it must have been leaked.
Because it is well behind the Xbox 360 at 85 million.
Ooh.
The PlayStation 2? You want to take a jab at how many that sold?
I used to know this. I'm going to put it at around 75, but I think it's closer to 77.
157 million.
I was close.
You're off by double. That's so close. Oh, I'm going to need to save that so I can put it in the podcast. Oh, text it to myself.
Texting yourself because you have no friends.
I really don't. You're just an acquaintance.
Oh, what the fuck? What? Oh.
You started it.
That's true. Alright. I was just trying to trigger you.
Don't start what you can't finish. Oh, come on. I have a defeatist mentality. Come on.
So does that count then? Or was that too easy for me?
No, it means I automatically assume the worst, and I just defeat myself. Therefore, you can't trigger me because I'm already, whatever. I think that's
This is why you're winning.
Charlie
anyway,
cheating.
Would you like to start getting into some of these points?
Yes, because we have a holdover from last week because we didn't have enough time. But that we were supposed to.
And I really want to get into it.
And it's gonna be a long one. That's why I was trying to hold back on the Vita because I was like, we're getting into point one here. Okay, so I'm gonna just because the way I have it worded in the drive doc, I'm gonna read it for the audience. And this is what I punched up for when Marco and I were recording podcast number 2 last week, but we didn't have enough time. My question was, if the Switch continues to do well over the next couple of years, could we see Sony and Microsoft adopting a similar stance with the next generation of consoles? Potential modularity. Now, the reason why I asked this was, Dan and I kind of hinted at it with patch 1.11 with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I didn't really go into detail stating, oh, hey, I got back into my Switch because of this. I didn't fully say that, even though that's what happened. Another reason why I thought of this was I dusted off my Vita after talking to Marco off podcast, and after getting back into my Vita, I was like, I miss this, Because as a child growing up in the Game Boy era, I was born in 89, Marco was born in 91, so we grew up in the Nintendo Game Boy era. I remember having such fond memories of just spending hours taking that little freaking Game Boy wherever I went. I had the Game Boy Color, by the way. I didn't have the original Game Boy, just to clarify.
I had the original, and then I got a Game Boy Color in a yard sale once that I didn't use a whole lot.
That is still awesome.
It's a purple one, the purple see-through one.
I had that one too.
Oh, twinsies!
Yeah, I got it for a birthday present from my grandma.
Oh, look at you!
Yeah, it was awesome until it died.
Oh.
Yeah.
They all died eventually.
Unfortunately, yes. But my point being about the Game Boy is I played Pokemon Red and The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening all the freaking time. Like, I loved being able to take my Game Boy and go wherever I could. I didn't have a home console because my parents wouldn't let us have home consoles until the PS2 era, and I had to go out and buy that. And my brother went out and bought a GameCube, so we had a PS2 and GameCube. in 2004. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I grew up. My dad had a PC, but we were only allowed 1 hour time limit to play on the PC between the two of us. So it's 2 hours a day,
Right.
blah blah blah. But unlimited time on the handheld because, well, guess what? It's just batteries. It doesn't waste electricity, and I can go wherever I want with it. So if my mom wanted me outside, guess what I was doing? Besides playing in a tree, I didn't always play the Game Boy. Is I could take that anywhere, and so I grew up for years, except for when I went to my grandma's house who had an NES. You know, um, was I took that little bastard everywhere. So I grew up loving mobile, and
Yeah.
I started growing up, and I had a Game Boy Advance before I had a PS2 because I got that for my birthday the year before I got a PS2. Um,
Right.
then things starting getting into the consoles and whatnot. And my mobile gaming started to scale back a lot uh, in regards of work, and consoles taking the bulk of it, and consoles being able to say play with you, Marco, and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Mobile not being really well for that, even though they've had the ability for a while. Um, and with the Switch, and the Vita did this when I got the Vita in 2012, but I, I I put a lot of time in the Vita and the DS, but a lot of my time went into consoles and PC. Um,
Right.
but with the Switch, um, like playing the Switch, and I'm like, with the exception of the fact you can't record the video undocked, it's still
Mm-hmm.
giving me like this, love and fondness of handhelds again. I'm like, because the rumor is that the 3DS is going to be killed off by the Switch once the Switch sells enough. Because why have a portable hybrid console and a DS at the same time? You know,
Right.
it's kind of competing with yourself. It's the whole, well, when the Switch outsells, like when the DS, more DS's gotten homes and the Game Boy Advance was killed off type of thing. That's where a lot of
Right.
rumors are going. I would love that actually, and I hope the Switch catches on. Even though I was very angry at first about the Switch because of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild not playing well. That's a chat I had thoroughly with Dan. Um,
Yeah.
but I'll summarize here is yes, I was an early adopter. Yes, I should have had more patience, but I mean, come on, seriously, $400 for someone like me is not a light amount of money. I mean, I felt that,
Yeah. I agree.
and you'll feel that too. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
your average working consumer, $400 is a lot of money. Um,
Yeah. I agree.
so it's kind of like the good and the bad there. Um, but
See, but
go ahead.
this kind of goes back to what you were saying about the Scorpio and the PS4 Pro. Because there's so many DSs out there in the wild right now,
Yeah,
there's a bigger possibility for developers and production companies to put their games on the DS because that's what's going to give them the most amount of revenue, right?
correct.
So, so if the Switch doesn't bring something to the table, it has a very good potential of dying out. And I've said that before.
Which is honestly true.
Yeah. So will the Switch replace the DS? I don't know. Time will tell, and it's really in the developer's hands, not so much the consumer.
You're absolutely right on that too. And it also first party game releases because in order to sell a console, you need first parties. And we only have Zelda and one two Switch until
Yep.
Super Mario Odyssey. And we have a bunch of third party and indie starting to flood the console. But I mean, I'm sorry, you really need first party because what's the point of getting third party on the Nintendo when you already own a PS4 or an Xbox One, both, or a PC? These games go all
Yeah.
around.
I agree. But it also goes back to the same thing where what I was saying about the Scorpio is that they're not going to take full advantage of the processing power that the Switch has. Mind you, it is not that much to boast about. So developers are going to put ports of their games like what they're doing with Skyrim and Super Mario. What is it? Super Mario Kart 8?
Yeah, Mario Kart 8. You don't need the Super.
Yeah. So it's basically the same thing that you've already had on consoles. You're just putting it out on a console to give it some life.
Yeah.
You're really squeezing this last sense out of it, right?
Yes. However, I will
So
admit. Sorry, go ahead. I thought your point was on.
I was going to say, to go back to your original question, will Sony and Microsoft adopt the modularity in the next generation of consoles, I really doubt it. Because I don't think so. First of all, I don't think the PS Vita 2, if you will be out within the next 1 to 3 years. I don't think it's coming that fast. There isn't that much of a demand because the same thing that you're mentioning here about the cell phones and what we have in the Play Store and the iOS store with so many fucking games that we don't even give a shit about. But once you find that one good game, you've got it on your phone. You've got your phone with you everywhere you go. So the demand for a portable console, for a portable gaming system, it's just not there. What would really drive people back to a portable market would be first party games. But that would take someone in the first party category to be like, approach Sony or approach Microsoft and say, this is what we want to do on a portable console. Can you guys do this, or is there somewhere we should go? And right now, they're not going to direct it towards the Vita because the Vita's dying. They're like, well, if you want to really, really put it out there, you can put it on the Vita, but don't expect your revenue to come back. So it demotivates people from going into that category. So, I don't know. For the next generation, I really think we have to keep a close eye on what the developers want out of the next consoles.
True. That is true. And we'll see what happens, because when is the next console generation? Who knows, you know?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. This mid-generation thing is like so skewed.
Yeah, it's like it's giving a med kit to a dying elephant. It's just prolonging its life a little bit.
Yeah.
That was multifaceted. That was like the elephant in the room, but at the same time it's dying because the console is dying. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but
It was an interesting.
I think it was deep.
Well, I think someone would argue it was probably cruel. You know, elephants dying, how dare you? I'm not one of them. I'm not PETA.
I hate to be that person, but if you're listening to this podcast, I'm going to tell you something that might blow your tiny little mind straight out of your skull bone. Elephants die every day. Every day.
Everything dies every
I'm sorry.
day.
That's true.
But I do have one more thing on this.
Go for it.
Is actually I don't. I covered everything. Never mind, sorry. Well, no,
Trucking right along.
I thought I missed something, but you're good.
Well, stop thoughting about it.
Thoughting about it.
Exactly. Hey, fuck off. English is my second language.
You were in
I can do
America.
this.
You were in America longer than you were in Mexico.
Nobody needs to know that. Why are you selling me out here? All the compadres at home are like, no, that guy's American, ese.
I'm selling you out because you're selling yourself out to Sony.
See?
As I'm using a Sony cell phone right now.
See? You can't even say nothing. You're a Sony pony too.
I'd rather be a Sony pony than a micro pony. It is, Jolt.
Wait, why?
Microsoft doesn't take care of their people, obviously.
Oh, you know micro ponies are an actual thing, right? They're really small ponies.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought a pony was a micro pony.
Well, they get even smaller. I'm actually making this up. I don't actually know if I was right. But I got you going.
You got me going to say ponies are micro ponies. There's no such thing as a micro pony, because if there's a micro pony, that's technically a micro pony. Right?
Mind blown.
Which, at that point, don't you just think it's like a small child at this point?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I should have never ventured down this path.
There's a lot of things you've done that you probably shouldn't have done. A, being agreeing to play Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker all those times.
Yeah, seriously. Just a bullet sponge for you.
I wish we had videos of that.
It's like, no wonder you keep telling me to run in the opposite direction of where you're going. Just drawing fire.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in this cover house over here. Do you mind going that way? Don't mind the tank
Yeah,
and the soldiers. Just go.
getting PTSD just sitting here listening to you.
Got your back, bro.
Sliding right into point number two.
I was actually about to ask you to talk about this because I have no idea what this is.
All right.
However, Dan did.
So, Dan did?
Yeah, because I showed him the drive doc. Which, by the way, he says he can't view ours, and he's asked you if he can get access.
Oh, that's weird. Anyway, we'll take care of that off podcast.
You got it. I just wanted to say something.
Yeah, good call. I won't forget now. Cuphead is a Xbox One and PC game that's coming out sometime this year. It has a very like old Disney cartoon look to it. It's categorized as a bullet hell side scroller, and it looks really funny. It's like it's a teacup with eyeballs and a nose and shit on a body. And this game looks like it plays so smoothly that if you didn't know you were watching a game, you would think it's just a cartoon. It looks so good. So good. And I'm hoping that eventually it'll get a PS4 release, but that hasn't been announced.
Can't wonder why.
My question to you though, is that it was announced for Xbox One and PC. Shouldn't we be assuming that if it's coming out for Xbox One, it's going to release on PC since it's a Microsoft platform? Why or why not?
Well, actually, for the longest time, Microsoft didn't like doing that because they felt it was competing with the Xbox, so they wouldn't release it on PC. It's only recently they started doing this, and it's usually been the Microsoft 10 thing where you buy, sorry, a Windows 10 thing, where the stores are one and the same kind of thing. So, like, if you bought the PC copy, you got the Xbox One copy. If you bought the Xbox One copy, you got the PC copy. But that's just
Right.
a recent stance. You would think if they're both Microsoft, they would do this, but no. For the longest time, they weren't doing that. If it was one, it would be it was most likely going to be Xbox, and if it came to PC, you were lucky.
I see. So it's only recently that they've both kind of melded together.
Yes, and that's
All right,
most
so
likely because they know the Xbox is dying secretly.
oh no, trying to salvage their little market on the PC.
However, I have just Googled Cuphead, as I forgot the name. Looking at the images, I have seen this video before.
Right? What do you think?
When I saw the video, it was actually an outside Xbox video because I see their little image down here in the Google images. I loved watching this, and I can't wait to play it because it looks hard.
Yeah, it does look hard shit. But I don't know. It's one of those. So bullet hell games don't really attract me. I get pretty frustrated with them pretty fast. But I just like the look of it. So I could literally just sit there and watch somebody play.
And that's why we have YouTube videos.
Exactly. Yeah, that's probably the influence that it's going to have on me.
Which, I actually want to make a point out of this, even though it's not in the Google Drive doc. Speaking of YouTube videos,
What's up?
Okay, you know how we've chatted off podcast, on podcast to death about this? Demos. And how developers aren't fond of demos because they could ruin potential sales and whatnot.
Right.
And have you heard about the Persona 5 issue with YouTube right now?
No.
Where, okay, you know Persona 5's out right now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And they have threatened legal action if you post videos to YouTube going beyond a certain part of the game, like until a certain deadline. I think the deadline's like somewhere in July. I don't know what the point is. I just know you're not allowed to go to a certain point, and if you show videos beyond that, they'll send a DMC takedown. They're threatening all these legal things, and it's like it ties into demos so well to me. It's like, you know how demos can potentially not make a game sell because the game looks like shit or you just don't like it. YouTube videos have the potential of having the whole game now on YouTube.
That's true, yeah.
So there's your demo. You watch a video of someone playing it. Oh wow, this game looks like shit. I don't like it. I'm not gonna buy it. Or hey, this game looks
True.
awesome. I'm gonna buy it. I'm wondering with the
Yeah.
Persona 5 thing, they don't want whether you like it or hate it. I wonder if they're not wanting story spoilers out on the internet, so that you can still buy the game. That way you can see the end of the game.
Mm.
So
Right.
I'm wondering if there's like another layer to this. Um,
That's an interesting question because I know that when developers send out pre-alphas or alphas or betas to people for people to review privately or from like a corporation or whatever, they do put up review embargoes where, for instance, if I give you my game, like let's call it Game B, if I send you a build of my game, I can make you sign a contract saying you're not going to post this anywhere until a certain date. And that date is most usually after the game has been released. So people either know what they're getting into very early on or they know a few days after the game's out in the wild. So I don't. I've honestly never heard of it being imposed on regular civilians. Mind you, it's not. It's not a like a contractual thing where they had YouTubers sign a contract saying you can't post anything. It's just I don't know them reclaiming their own intellectual property, which makes sense. But I don't think it's ever been done before, as far as I know.
yeah, I don't know too much about the whole thing. I just know usually embargoes go on until launch day or a couple days later.
Mm-hmm.
But as we were talking about that, that's just a thought I had came to my mind about YouTube and whatnot. And like, you know how Nintendo is very, very strict with YouTube and whatnot. Like, you aren't making a penny off the videos and
Yeah.
whatnot. It's so stupid, you know?
Yeah. What it's. So, before anybody calls me out, I'm not saying this to be racist. I'm saying that foreign markets operate differently than we do in the United States and Canada and North America. But it's a very, very different market in Japan. Like, even commercials get intellectual property rights. It's it's interesting, but for them to I don't know make the leap across the ocean to take that away from YouTube, it's weird. I don't know where to sit with that.
Yeah, it, there was a YouTube channel, Pretty Good Gaming, and they talked about this, and they had a little slide where they were talking about how like they wanted to talk about the Switch, but if there was any video content of Nintendo products, immediate seizing of revenue, and you get a copyright
Yep.
strike. So they put this whole
Yep.
thing. We think it's bullshit. A multi-billion-dollar company wants us to promote their games, but at the same time, we get penalized for this. So they had that little slide on top, and they still have everything in the background. They just had that slide basically telling Nintendo to fuck off. It
Mm-hmm.
was great. But you
Yeah,
you are right though. It's
it's
different mentality.
yeah, I agree. And Nintendo is one of those companies that refuses to change with the market and their consumers, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it speaks volumes when you're trying to put out a new console or you're trying to present a new console and you're not catering to the majority of your sales.
Who was it when Nintendo unveiled the Wii U and was like, "Oh, hey, it can do 1080p gaming"? And I don't want to say Ken Levine, but it was someone making a comment about BioShock did it in 2006. It's like, yeah, welcome to the party.
Yeah, it was yeah, that happened.
I'm seeing a quote in the Cuphead images on Google. A quote from Shigeru Miyamoto. A delayed game is
Si-
eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad. Yeah, looking at you, Breath of the Wild. Should have came out 3 months later. Looking
Ooh.
at you. And the Switch. Should have put that Pascal chip in there, not the Maxwell chip. You get more power, less consumption.
Yeah, rush that thing out, I tell you. We actually talked about it quite
We
extensively
have.
during one of our Far Cry videos.
We did.
It's up there,
I'll have to find which
and
one and I'll link it.
that was months ago too.
Well, the funny thing is
Bro.
those videos were recorded months prior before they actually went on YouTube, just because of time, because they took
Yeah.
a while to edit and then get uploaded.
All right. One thing I did you say Cuphead? It's cool if you did. It was funny.
I don't know if it said Cuphead or Cuphead. I have honestly no clue. We'll have to go back to the audio on that.
See, I'm gonna go with Cuphead since the little dude's head is a cup. I don't know. You could be right. Oh, that's gonna be funny as fuck when they put it out, and I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, it was Cuphead. You were right that entire time."
Do you have a release
So
date for that?
no, it's to be announced.
Oh.
It's in 2017, but that's all they've released so far.
Well, because I'm seeing an image with the cup and E3 coming out of it. Let me see if I can
Hmm.
find it again. I'll put it in the video. I had it. No, there it is. It doesn't say when the picture was posted, but I'll take it anyways.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the next one I want to get into is because we're already around 50 minutes into the podcast, is pretty much a public service announcement. Now, Forgetful Hitman.
Yes.
You know I hate it when reviewers are biased.
Ho ho
You know I
ho.
hate it when reviewers throw in their own opinions to games without actually looking at the games or exploring the games as much as they should. Drawn to Death, I kind of pushed that one pretty hard because I liked it and I have been following for years and I've been playing it a lot. Although, see, a lot of people,
Mm.
especially at work, when I tell people, "Oh yeah, I've been playing this game a lot," and they're like, "No, you haven't. You haven't logged on for like 5 weeks." It's because I play offline. I'm sorry, guys. I'm very antisocial when I'm gaming. I play offline a lot. Anyway, so Drawn to Death. In this article, they said that the announcer was too loud and he was a little abrasive and he never shuts up and that the sensitivity in the controller was so low that you can never get a kill. And I think you found a couple things too, right? You want to throw in a
Oh
few things
yes.
that's been said about the game?
I have an IGN article I want to blast.
Go for it.
Well, I mean, once you're done.
While we're on the boat.
Oh, good. Well, no, I just didn't.
I was,
I just didn't agree with
I was
IGN's article because they were like, about how it takes a while to kill people and the humor is too, what's the word for word? First off, he says it's horribly imbalanced in terms of killing people. Which, I mean, why does it have to be the 3 round burst of Call of Duty? I don't care, you know. I mean, back in the Unreal Tournament in GoldenEye, it was you took skill, you know. It wasn't like
I
an
agree.
immediate, oh hey. I mean, if you got a headshot, sure. I mean, it was faster to kill someone, but I mean, if you're going for the mass, center, I mean, it was going to take a while. And like I have a video, you have a video. Um, my first time playing the game, there was a learning curve, yeah. And my video is uncut. It's from when I launched the game up until I finished my first level. I mean, my first round, sorry. And you'll see that towards a part in the game, the match, I started doing really good. I didn't find the combat too long. I mean, I don't like Call of Duty.
That's another thing. I feel that a lot of online multiplayer games are trying too hard to be Call of Duty.
Yes.
And one of the reasons I like this game so much is because it definitely put its foot down and said, no, fuck you. We're not Call of Duty. We know that, and we're going to embrace it.
Yeah. Like, did you play Unreal Tournament back in the day? Like, back in the day.
Yeah, I played it at school because someone put it on a couple of the computers that we used in. Oh, God, I don't even remember. It was on one of the computers at school, and that's where we played it.
But do you remember how long it took to kill any enemy with, like, some of the more average weapons? Like, an AK, like, in Drawn to Death, even though it wasn't an
Yeah, for
AK,
sure. Yeah.
It,
Yeah, no, it was a difficult game and I never got good at it and I'm okay with that. Not every game is going to cater to me, right?
right.
So, and that's what I wanted to get into. I feel like this particular person that I shall not name, whose initials may or may not be HA from Kotaku,
Huh?
said that Drawn to Death was one big missed opportunity because of the things that she didn't like. He or she didn't like about the game, and so I wanted to put a public service announcement out there where if you're gonna slam a game, at least know exactly what you're talking about, and if there's no way to change it, then by all means, go ahead. Like, you can't jump in Metal Gear Solid 3. That's annoying. Go ahead and slam it for that. What I'm talking about here is, so first of all, she mentioned that the announcer had a very abrasive sense of humor and that he never shuts up. If you go into the options menu in the middle of a game, or even in the lobby, there's a switch where you can turn it off completely, make it talk less, or just keep it as loud and annoying and constantly talking. You can't complain about something that you can turn off.
Can you?
Right? That's no, you can't. Well, I guess you can, obviously. This person wrote an entire article about it, but it's as easy as going into the fucking options menu and turning it off if it gets too annoying for you.
Now, see,
That's it.
I'll bring up a point where it's legitimate in IGN's article is you can't remap the controls, and that's a legitimate attack for people
That's a legitimate attack.
For people that don't want to take their finger off the right stick like he talks about and go to X to jump and back to the right stick. I can accept that argument, even though mouse and keyboard is superior to your inferior controllers. I'll still take that point because you can't go in an options menu and remap the controls.
Yeah, and that makes sense. When you legitimately don't have a way to change something that doesn't jive well with you, then by all means, go ahead. But another thing that she brought up was sensitivity. And she kept saying that because the sensitivity is so low, you never find any momentum and it feels very grindy and difficult. Again, go into the options menu. There's a sensitivity scrubber bar. Turn it up. If it's too slow for you, turn up the sensitivity. It's that easy.
Sounds like the person
Also,
who reviewed that game at Kotaku was given that game when they absolutely pleaded not to get the game, so they got the review out in like 20 minutes. Played like one match.
See, that's another thing. Like, if you're going to be reviewing a game, don't rush through it. Because the consumers are counting on you. If you go to, like, that's just a small minor call out to Kind of Funny Games. Those guys take their times with their reviews. They've played the games for at least 40 hours before we even know about it, or know that it's out in the wild. And then they give you, like, everything that they've encountered. And they're not nice to it. If it's a shitty game, they'll tell you straight up, it's a shitty game and I don't think you should buy it. But if it's a game that, you can get used to, or if it sets itself apart like Drawn to Death does, then yeah, they'll tell you it's not for me. But if you get used to it, that's okay. An annoying part for me kind of comes back to the Call of Duty thing where you can spec your character and they're all pretty much on the even playing field. Drawn to Death is specifically a character game where one character is going to be very different from another. They all have their pros and cons, and yeah, maybe one character isn't as strong against a particular other character, but that's exactly like what MOBAs are. That's what Drawn to Death is bringing to the table. It's mixing genres, and it's being different, and it's being cool. And people don't like that because it's not Call of Duty. That annoys me. That's not something that should be in an article.
I agree with that because in the IGN article, he mentions that he compares it to Overwatch and how Overwatch handles classes better. And I'm like, Overwatch is just a different company handling Team Fortress 2. And Overwatch, Team Fortress 2, I mean, like, I'm going to take Team Fortress 2 here because I've never played Overwatch. So I don't care to play Overwatch. You can kill the scout with the soldier with his rocket launcher. You can do it. I mean, it's going to take skill, keyword skill, because the scout moves super fast and the soldier moves kind of slow with his rocket launcher and doesn't shoot really fast. You can do it. It's going to take great precision and skill, but you can do it. Like Drawn to Death, when I was playing as Ninja, because that's all I'm playing as Ninja, because Ninja's awesome. Yeah, there's a learning curve. It's tactical. That's what I love.
I agree. And I like that it's being different, and I don't think it should be slammed for that. And, at the end of the day, this game is very early in its life cycle.
Right.
So yeah, it might not have as many characters as we want, and it might not have as many maps as we want, but it's coming. Just wait. It's an online multiplayer game. I guarantee you there's going to be DLC for this thing.
There's microtransactions.
That's another topic for another day. I just don't think that shit that you can change in the game should be slammed in an article. And that's my public service announcement to you people.
Well, there's actually another topic we didn't hit on about the game before you end
Go
the
for
PSA,
it.
is the humor. Because IGN calls it
Yeah.
sophomoric and crass. And they were talking about how the what's that little frog thingy? Anyways, is it sends the same handful of taunts and insults your way multiple times per match and whatnot, and
Yep.
and it's like I love how people get so easily triggered by a slight like joke. Like seriously, if you go into a game called Drawn to Death made by David Jaffe, and if you get insulted by the humor, really, it's David fucking
Yeah.
Jaffe.
Seriously.
I mean, come on. You're playing a game from a kid's notebook in school. We were all kids. What the flying hell happened in school? We all got tormented, made fun of, told we sucked, they banged our mom, shit like this. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of humorous to me. I'm 27, I'm not
I
I'm not a crybaby.
I personally love the humor because it does very well stick to. So another thing is David Jaffe knows what he's doing. If he's gonna put something in a game, it's gonna tie into the world of that game and how that works, right? The humor is right on par with the fact that yeah, the entire game takes inside a high schooler's notebook. Back in high school, what were we making fun of? Dicks, shit, puke, things like that.
The nerds.
Come on. Yeah, well, I was one of them.
So was I, and I still got made fun of, so. I guess who got copied off of a lot?
To what?
Guess who got copied off of a lot? Once they realized you're really smart, they stopped messing with you. Oh shit, you're smart. But no,
I feel like a shrink is gonna have a field day with this particular podcast.
What shrinks? Tell them to meet us on the battlefield, and you can follow me to the house, and we'll send them the other way.
Dang.
You want to learn about us? You'll learn about us the hard way. On the fields of Peace Walker. Don't go too far.
No, that's all I'm doing.
Okay.
It's 3 notes. You can't prove it.
But no, I don't know. The one legitimate thing, well, the two legitimate things. The one we talked about, the controls not being able to remap, and the server problems. Those are the two valid points in the IGN article.
Yeah, I agree completely. There were some server issues when I started playing. Well, it wasn't in my video gameplay. It was just me playing on my own time. There were a few server issues where it would say it gives you like an estimated time to a match.
Yeah.
I think it hovers around the 1 minute mark.
That's what mine did.
I was waiting for like 10, which yeah, it's a little annoying, but at the end of the day, 10 minutes wait for a game, not that bad. I'm a very patient person though, so I understand people getting pissed off with the server issues.
And that could be boiled down to the fact that the game was given out to free to PS Plus players. And if you're on PS4, there's a good chance you're on PS Plus. I think it chalks up to is it was a smaller game, didn't get as big of a budget, so guess what? Not as many servers. Holy hell, it's picking up a lot of people. Our servers are overloaded, get more servers, blah, 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 blah. It sounds like an early release type thing.
It's true.
Let's do this in 3 months. If we solve the server problems in 3 months, now we can talk.
See, I think that's kind of why it went down the microtransaction route. You mentioned it briefly. I didn't want to get into it, but this kind of ties in perfectly. Because it's originally released as a free-to-play, not free-to-play, free download, as long as you have PlayStation Plus. There's a huge window of opportunity there that they willingly missed. Now, I'm sure Sony did give them a good cut for it, but to release a game as a free game on PlayStation Plus takes a lot. So for them to be supporting themselves via microtransactions, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that all microtransactions are good, but in this case, it makes sense.
And that's usually where I'm accepting of microtransactions is if I got the game for free, pile it on. I'll buy what I want if I buy any at all, you know? But if I paid money for that, the fuck do you want the microtransactions from me for? No way.
Agreed. You should look at my Warframe account. Holy shit. I was playing that before I started dating, so just imagine. Anyway, don't want to get into that one too far. Moving right along.
Wow, that was a very good segue. Where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? Okay, so we still have. I say do number three.
Number 3?
Yeah.
All right. Mass Effect Andromeda put out patch 1.05, which was pretty much BioWare's response to the response that they got from consumers. If I say response one more time, I swear to God. Anyway. Why? Why? So this patch fixes facial animations in a lot of the cutscenes that you get. So like these are the pre-scripted, dramatic sort of cutscenes that you're supposed to be getting. It does change a lot of the early on cutscenes. The one that they used as an example, and a lot of people are actually using this example, was the "My face is tired" scene with one of the main characters. Originally, it got a lot of flack because exactly what she was saying is what it looked like. It was very flat. There wasn't a whole lot of emotion. After the patch, I don't have any links off the top of my head, but if you look at some of the comparisons that they've done on YouTube, the scene is a little more dynamic. It's not so much like square on talking to Ryder. It's more there's more acting in it. Basically, it looks a little more natural, where the shoulders are not square on to Ryder's shoulders at all times. She reaches for her face a couple times. She frowns more, so it looks way better. And it's only a small patch. My question, though, is: are we being too hard on video games when it comes to humans and how they're animated, or just animations in general? What do you think?
Well, we have talked about this in the past. My viewpoint is, I think a lot of people are bummed and disappointed, hence why we're making such a big deal of Mass Effect Andromeda. I don't think we need to be like uber realistic because we are playing a motherfucking video game. There can be some unrealistic things to it. So to answer the question, with Mass Effect, I would expect a little bit more, just because it's a bigger studio, bigger release. You should know better. Your fans are very passionate. There are many of them. Something like this is not going to go missed by them. But at the same time, I don't expect like all the pores and the wrinkles in my face to be animated. You know, I don't.
That's fair.
I don't expect that. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But that's pretty much what I got.
All right.
But Mass
See,
Effect sucks.
Oh, why do you gotta be like that? I'm triggered. I'm definitely triggered by that.
You don't sound triggered at all. You sound depressed, like suicidal depressed.
I'm suicidally triggered.
Well,
Not really.
That's.
Mom, I'm fine.
Oh boy, we do need a therapist for you.
Mm-hmm.
But no,
Well,
don't get me wrong. I say that in jest because I know Mass Effect means a lot to you, but like Mass Effect Andromeda looks interesting to me. I know Honest Trailers blew it apart, and it's justifiably so. Um, I still think, to me though, it looks interesting enough for me to get into it, but not right now, and not
yeah.
because there's
It's
too many games for me.
Yeah, too many games, and it is a big time commitment. So my stance on this was basically, I felt that we were being a little too harsh on the game. It's like, okay, we can take you out into outer space, but as soon as the faces don't look real, we're all up in arms, right? But the fact that we're in outer space is completely fine. okay. But at the same time, if people weren't this outraged about it, it might have not ever gotten patched. So he might have been stuck with this flat, boring game. Well, I shouldn't say that. The game isn't flat, boring, but the cutscenes are a little flat and prescribed until this patch came out. But that's only in response to all the people getting up in arms and saying, "Holy shit, this game sucks." And they're like, "No, it doesn't, but we can fix it."
Hmm.
That was a pregnant pause.
Yeah, I was looking at something that caught my eye. I couldn't make heads or tails of a chick if she was pregnant or not.
Huh.
Okay.
Interesting.
So do you want to do number 9 real fast before we do 8 and 10? Because 8 and 10 are like one
Sure.
and the same.
True. This one's a pretty short one.
Yeah.
So the release date for Uncharted the Lost Legacy was announced as August 22nd of this year, and it seems to be aiming for that $40 price point. So it doesn't seem like it's going to be a what do you call it? A full game.
No.
But I definitely wouldn't say that it's a small edition. I wouldn't say like it's independent sized.
I think the word for it is standalone expansion.
There you
Like
go.
Fallout New Vegas to Fallout 3.
True. Yeah. Exactly. And Naughty Dog, according to you, or according to someone, did confirm that it's around 10 hours
That
long.
was me putting that in there. It was an interview they did. They're shooting for around the 10-hour mark because they said the Last of Us. What was the DLC with Ellie and that girl where it was a single player campaign type thing? I don't remember the name of it. They said it was around 2 to 3 hours long and it was $15. Um,
Mm.
and whatnot. Me personally, I find this route very interesting. Do you remember back when Uncharted 2 came out and people were asking for an Uncharted 2 single player campaign, DLC type thing?
Yep, yep.
And Naughty Dog responded with, "Well, if we're going to do that, we'd rather just do a whole new game."
Yep.
It's interesting to see how they've gone about this years later.
Yeah, I I also think that and I haven't played Uncharted 4, but from what I've heard, it's a very very complete experience, and in order to expand on it, you would need a completely separate story
Right.
from the sounds of it. Also, side note, if it's going to be aiming for that $40 price point in the US, it's going to be around $53 in the Canadian market. Just for my Canadian brethren to know.
I don't know. I mean, it's very interesting. I mean, they're bringing back Chloe from Uncharted 2, and she was in 3 for a little bit. Interesting character. I enjoy her. It's Nadine, where I'm like, lols, I could care less. I mean, she's on Uncharted 4 for a little bit, and she's like intermittently in, like here and there, and it's like I found the character useless in the game, like as like a backup enemy, like laughably
Mm-hmm.
useless. Like, okay, so we have a woman that can kick Drake's ass. Awesome. What message are we sending here? Oh, women can kick Drake's ass. Awesome. I'm for that, but can we do something better with this character?
It's true.
I mean, that's where I'm going with it. I don't even care that it's voiced by Laura Bailey, who's a white woman. I don't give a shit about that because Nadine's a black woman. I don't care about that. I don't care for the message they were sending about Nadine can kick Drake's ass. I don't care. Give me a good villain. Don't just put in a laughable villain that's just here and there and pointless to the story.
This reminds me of the Voss discussion
Voss?
from Far Cry 3. Yeah,
Yes, Voss was pointless. Ooh, trigger some madness. Oh, okay, whatever.
I'm definitely triggered.
I just felt like, I mean, they just have a problem here. I mean, I hope they expand upon Nadine more. I mean, it looks like they're going to, but um, right now, I mean, my biggest qualm is $40 is quite a bit to pay for this experience. Let's hope it's
$4 per hour.
let's hope it warrants that price tag. Because for
Yeah, let's hope.
because for
I mean,
Fallout New Vegas, you got every bit of your penny for that game. For
that's fair. But it's also Naughty Dog, so like you know that you're going into a very cinematic
well,
experience.
fuck yeah.
So would you pay $40 for 5 movies, 5 AAA title movies.
Well, let's answer this question this way. Did you and I buy Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes when it was going to be 40, even though it turned out to be 30? Yes, we did. And that was only a 45-minute experience.
Precisely.
So, we're ripping on it, not trying to really rip on it. Please don't take it that way. It's just having some reservations. $40 is a lot, even though it's a 10-hour experience. I mean, that is a lot of money. And when we went into Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, it was, well, it's you originally were going to do it with or without me, and I did it just so you couldn't spoil anything. So, because I was trying to convince you not to do it. I was like, dude, this isn't worth it, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh, I can't. I'm like, fuck. All right, fine. Open up my bank account. Damn it. But no, I'll probably end up getting Uncharted the Lost Legacy. I'm not pre-ordering it. I don't care what people say. I don't care that they're giving out 4 Jack and Daxter games with it. I don't care because I already have them on PS3, so, you know. Well, except for Jack X, you know. But I'm going to watch it more, definitely.
Dang. I didn't know that they were releasing the Jack and Daxter games.
Well, see, they're releasing the PS2 copies upscaled to 1080p with trophy support and whatnot. They're not doing, from what I read, they're not doing the Jack trilogy where it was upgraded for the PS2 to PS3 where it got the visual upgrades and everything. The HD collection. So it's very weird. I hope they change stance on that, but for now I don't care because I have them on PS3.
Think about it this way. Do you think they can change their mind before August 22nd?
There's a good chance it's Naughty Dog. I need to see more, you know? I'm not just going to blindly pre-order right now. E3's right around the corner.
That's true. That's a good point.
Wow.
Should definitely talk about that soon.
Oh, like we weren't.
I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing the audience.
And I'm fucking with them.
Will we talk about E3? I don't know.
I don't know.
Tune in.
The gaming podcast talk about E3? How dare you?
No. I've never seen that before.
That's too triggering.
In a gaming podcast. Precisely.
Okay. So I guess I'll open with this one.
Do it. You won't.
I don't want to. But I will because GameStop sucks.
Oh. Getting right into it.
Yeah, exactly. So, to give some backstory here before I actually get to the point, I used to work at Blockbuster for years before they really went downhill. And I jumped ship in 2008. And the franchise I worked for went out of business in 2011, you know, the whole bankruptcy thing and whatnot. And the overall company went out in 2011 or 2012. I know This Is the End was out around that time. Something about that. Anywho, which...
I'll look it up.
Anywho.
But continue.
There was a guy I worked with at a store, and we were, you know, friendly and whatnot, and, you know, he ran a GameStop for 7 years. He just stopped before the Switch came out, and he moved on. So I frequented the store a lot because, you know, I knew the guy, you know. Hey, why not go to a game store where I know the guy, you know, instead of going somewhere where I don't know people, you know, whatever, awesome. So he's no longer there. I went to this GameStop Sunday just because, you know, my brother, you know, we were hanging out, we had lunch, and I was like, hey, you know, let's go peruse GameStop and see what used games they got. 'Cause he was looking for a co-op Resident Evil game on PS4, and I was like, all right, whatever, you know, let's give it a shot, you know, see what they got. And so we go there, we enter the store, and whatnot. December what? It's not giving me the whole thing.
December 31st, 2011.
I saw I was right. Okay. And so
is when they closed the last store.
Yeah.
So everybody knows.
I remember that because it was the whole the This Is the End was the last rental or something in a store in Hawaii. I remember that part. I just couldn't remember the year. It was a funny article. But anyway, so we walk in, you know, the typical, hi, welcome to blah, blah, blah. Can we help you with anything? This guy was like, hey, can we help you with anything? I'm like, no, we're fine. Thank you. Just going to look around, you know. And right from the get-go, I could see how much of a downhill this story's gone since, you know, it changed, you know, leadership. And it's just cluttered. It's nasty, you know. It's just whatever, you know. It's hard to maneuver if there's people in your way and whatnot. And so we gotta go to the back. The store's not really that big either. Your typical like EB Games, GameStop size, it's like a rectangle store type of thing.
Yeah.
It's, like on an outlet type thing. It's not an indoor place. Um, so I go to the back because I know that's where the PS4 games are, and I'm like, I'll look at the PS3 games and the Vita games while I'm back there. Um, so I go back there, and whatnot. My brother's with me, and we're looking around. The same guy comes up again, but I'll give him this because the there was a door to my right, to where they go to the back and whatnot. So I thought that was where he was going at first. I was like, all right,
Hmm.
but I didn't care for how close he was. Like, when people like really invade your bubble and like they're almost in your face when they're mad at you, type of deal.
Oh yeah.
But they're not mad at you; they're just talking to you, and it's like, whoa, too close. It's like either kiss me or back off, type of deal. I make that reference just so
Yes.
people can laugh because they know I'm talking about a guy, and you're
Oh.
not the first person. It's pretty funny. Um, anyways, he comes up to my brother and I. He's, oh, can I help you find anything? For the second time, and I'm like, no, just looking. Thank you. Just looking. And I wasn't being a dick about it. I was like, just looking. Thank you. He's like, well, we have other games out here and whatnot. We have PS4 and Xbox One. I turn around, I point, I go, yes, I know, PS4, Xbox One. This isn't my first time in here. I know you have other games, but PS3 games. Trust me, I'm just looking. Just perusing.
Yeah.
If you don't understand what looking means, I'll use a bigger word. I'm perusing. You know. So he's like,
Hmm.
okay, yeah, that's fine. So he walks away, and my brother and I look at each other like, the fuck? You know? At this
Yeah.
point, we're
Yeah.
getting annoyed. And so
Hmm.
I didn't see anything in the PS3 section I wanted. I didn't see anything in the Vita section. Because with the Vita going out the door, I was like, hey, let's see if I can't pick up any cheap Vita games I don't have, and whatever catches my eye, or like any Vita peripherals. Didn't see anything
Yep.
I wanted. All right, moved on. Went to the PS4 section for what we were really there for. Was looking for either Resident Evil 5 or 6 co-op, cheap, because I have them on PS3
Yep.
and PC. Not gonna do us much good because we have PS4s. I have a PS3 still, but it's digital and whatnot.
I see.
But so we're checking out, and I put these photos on Facebook, and I'll put them on the podcast in the visual thing. Is my brother picks up a Resident Evil 5 box. I'm not even looking at him. He's like, "Why does this feel so heavy?" I go, "What do you mean?" He's like, "It's." I look at it. It's just. I'm like, it didn't look like a steel case. So I'm like, well, on my peripherals, like, what do you mean? It's just plastic. He opens it and goes, "Oh my God, there's still a disc in here." I go, "What?" Because when you sell your games to GameStop, they're supposed to take the discs out, put the boxes on the shelf, but leave the games, at the counter type thing. For
Yeah.
anybody who's never been in a GameStop or an EB Games, typically what they're supposed to do, and whatnot. Or if you work at Blockbuster, either secure the box or put an empty box out there. Um, so he's like, well, what should I do? He's a little nervous. He's, never been in this business before. I'm like, you go take it to the guy. He's like, I don't want to. And I'm like, you know what? I can't blame you. I don't want to talk to that guy either. so, so I take the box. I'm like, here, just give me the box. I'll deal with it when we check out. And if we don't check out, I'll just hand it to him as we're walking out. Anyways, not even 60 seconds go by, and this dude is in my bubble yet again. Oh, is there anything I can help you find? I just hand him the box. I don't even look at him and go, hey, the game's still in this box. At this point, like trying to indicate, please leave me alone. Like
Yeah.
just not even really acknowledging at this point. He's like, oh, hey, thanks. That's kind of bad. I'm like, yeah, just saying. So then he's like, oh, hey, so you're a gamer, right? I'm like, I'm in GameStop. What am I?
Like, no, I came in for the candy.
Where are the hot women at? Am I in the wrong place? Like what am I doing at a game store? Um, and whatnot. My brother's getting annoyed. He's like, I could see him shaking his head and whatnot because my brother's behind the guy and whatnot. And so he's like, oh well, what kind of games are you into? And I'm like, well, I'm into any kind of game really. I ponder on that for a second. I'm like, hold up, and I issue a retraction. I go, hang on, to retract that, no Call of Duty. He goes, well, what about Battlefield 1? And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I say no Call of Duty, and you say Battlefield 1? Okay, I can understand the slight confusion on his end. Okay, he's probably thinking, oh, fuck, Activision. I'm an EA pony. Yeah, sell me that Battlefield. And I turn to him and I go, no, no, thank you. I'm no Call of Duty, no Battlefield, nothing. And he's not grasping it. He's like, well, what about Destiny? And I'm like, no.
Seriously, dude. Just browsing.
And I tell that to him yet again. I'm like, I'm just looking. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna buy anything. Please, just I'm not sure, you know, I just want to look. He goes, well, what are your viewpoints on Watch Dogs? And I go, I don't like Watch Dogs. I have the first one. I don't like it. It's okay. I'll play it, you know, which is funny. I'm actually back into Watch Dogs after telling him that. And he's like, well, what about Watch Dogs 2? And I'm like, I didn't want to yell out in the store that I fucking hate millennials, so why would I play a game that kind of glorifies millennials, you know?
Hmm.
Fuck, I
Hmm.
don't,
Hmm.
you know, why, you know? So I don't know. My friends who have played it, or people I trust have played it, I don't like what I see, you know?
Yeah.
And, um, and sadly, I'm a millennial and I hate my generation. Um, and
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, that's a trigger point, but we're technically in that category.
well, since neither of us were born after 1981 or 3, yes, we are millennials.
Yeah.
Anywho, and
Moving right
he's
along.
like, "Well, have you played Payday 2?" And I'm like, "Yes, I've played Payday 2. My brother behind you has. We play it at times. I have it on PC as well. I'm trying to, at this point, really throw the PC thing out there, you know, like please understand, you know, I don't care about this console shit. Like trying to get him to go away, you know, like I'm trying, you
Yeah.
know, without actually saying please go away or you know. So he actually turns, realizing my brother's behind him, and now he's trying to interact with both of us. And my brother's like, "No, I'm good, you know, leave me alone." But he's not saying anything. He's, you know, when you're uncomfortable and awkward, you have to just whip out your phone and look at it, and, you know, act like the other person's not there. Um,
Hmm.
so this keeps going on. He eventually walks away and goes, "Oh, hey, yeah, if you need anything, let me know." And I'm like, right. I look at my brother. I'm like, "Fuck this." We walk out, and I make sure it's known, angrily walking out, like, "The fuck, man? You can't leave us alone?" You know? The manager sees us. She's on the phone, and she's like, "What the hell just happened?" You know? I'm leaving. You know, fuck this. It was a fun experience, and I'm being highly sarcastic. But so it's like, I asked Dan this because I knew he wouldn't be in the podcast, and I'd be talking about it. I go, "So when is it acceptable to tell someone to back off, like the employee customer dynamic, you know? Because I'm used to being the employee, and if I'm told no, I don't. If I'm told as the employee, no, you don't need, I don't need any of your help. I'm like, okay, cool. But if you need me, I'm over here, and I don't touch them ever again until they come up to me and like, hey, I have a question. Like, hey, sure, what's up? You know, I've never been in that situation before as the customer. You know, telling off an
Hmm.
employee, hey, fuck off, leave me alone. You know, Dan's response
Yeah.
was after the he goes, the first time's acceptable. The second time, in case the first time didn't go through well, yes, you can, you know, just tell him for a second time. But he's like, when you have to say it a third time, that's when you're like, okay, go away or get the manager, you know? And I'm like, all
Right.
right, cool, cool. I guess that's acceptable, you know? I just didn't want to make a scene. I'm just here looking, you know? I don't care, you know? Leave me alone. I'm not 5. I'm 27.
True. See, I feel like this definitely varies market to market because I know in some higher end retail stores like clothing stores, that's the entire model of their marketing schemes. That's why they hire certain people that will actually engage with a person, and even if they are put off at first, their entire job is to make them feel at ease and make a sale. In a store like GameStop or EB Games, I've I've never experienced that as their marketing scheme. I don't think that's what it is. I think your assumption here or your suspicion is very, very relevant. So I'm going to let you go ahead with that one.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I had a point about how I know they're not on commission. I know that much. I know they're on hourly. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I was wondering if the pushiness could have something to do with, you know, in my area, in there's, you know, in my area within like a 10-mile radius, there's 5 stores I can off the top of my head because they're spread out a little bit. I'm not gonna tell you where I live. I'm not gonna tell you the city. I just live in Florida, and I know where 5 are.
Like, aha! It's in Florida, and there's 10 game stops within a 10-mile radius of each other. If I triangulate the game stops in Florida,
There's not
no, I'm kidding.
10,
You
you
probably can't get
stupid
any higher.
moron. I just said 5. But Google only shows up 3, which is hilarious because I know where the other 2 are that aren't showing up on Google, and I haven't, you know, done any parameters besides my city and the GameStop. But it's like, so I'm wondering if the pushiness has something to do with the fact that GameStop, their shares plummeted when they announced their end of year results for the end of year March 31st, their end of fiscal year,
Mm.
I should say, for clarity. And
Yeah, yeah.
they did pretty bad, and they chalked up their reasoning. They're not the reasoning. They blamed poor game sales on certain games like Titanfall 2 for a loss in sales, and um, Amazon, Walmart, and the big chains doing heavy promotions and whatnot. And I'm like, in terms of game sales, I can see that, but in terms of your winter deals suck. We're just gonna say that,
It's true.
That's why we went to Amazon or Walmart. You're not the only people who use games anymore. Hell, Best Buy, my local Best Buy, sells used games, and so does Walmart.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'm more inclined to say that it's the rise of the online shopping era, where I can get the latest video game, or I could pre-order even if I wanted to, which I don't recommend ever. Don't pre-order games, people. But you can get that game on release date without ever leaving the comfort of your couch.
True.
So, will people? It all comes down to, like, do you want to pay shipping or do you want to pay gas to get to the store and back?
Unless,
And a lot of people are making the choice to stay with the stay online and pay the shipping.
or if you have Amazon Prime, you don't pay the shipping. Ha ha.
You're sponsored, aren't you?
Well, I mean, they don't pay my $100 membership fee every year, but sure.
Knew it. I knew it.
No.
But
Go ahead.
tying right into your point,
Hang
though.
on. There's one more point to that GameStop point.
Oh, go for it.
Is they're closing 3% of their worldwide GameStops, and if my area, in a very close radius, has 5 that I'm aware of, without even doing a Google search, um, could that store particularly be its nuts on the bandsaw? To quote Super Troopers.
Mm, maybe.
So is that where that pushiness is coming into, or could it be a new change in leadership? And hey, you know, whatnot. So, but that's where I wanted to end that. So please continue with your thingy.
So, oh, I don't even know how to segue into this now.
GameStop's
So
been hacked.
GameStop, basically, GameStop recently admitted that there is a quote unquote possible breach of credit card information on Krebs on security. So they basically admitted, not basically, they literally admitted that some customer credit card information, including the code on the back of your card, may be compromised if you shopped on the GameStop.com website between mid September of last year, that's 2016, to early February of this year, 2017, for those that have suffered concussions and such. So if you shopped online within that time frame, you may be affected. Um, as far as they know, it's the payment card data that is being sold to another unknown website. And again, this is only a possibility according to GameStop. And just so everybody on the Canadian side knows that EB Games is affected by, well, we don't know if it's affected by the hack or the breach, but EB Games is under the GameStop umbrella, and it has been not confirmed if EBGames.com was affected.
You know what? I just looked that up while you're talking about it. Do you know the
Hmm.
timestamp on that was 4 days ago, right? When that article posted, or if that
Yep.
what happened on March 31st? Their fiscal year ended.
Oh, so it's all the year-end reports that are coming in.
So why reveal this after your fiscal year ended? If you revealed that before your fiscal year ended, oh my god, we've been hacked, type of thing. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, people are going to stop buying at your store, but now you can't because the fiscal year's done and they kept their sales pretty much at where they were before.
Well, and also investors. If they had announced that, the investors before the end of year, oh, because the fiscal year's over. We're now in their new fiscal year. We've just started. So this
Yeah,
is something
so
they can.
now they have an entire year to either recover, and I totally wouldn't be surprised if some investors jump ship on that right off the bat.
Yeah, but it it's so stupid. But oh, this reminds me. Sorry, this is what I was trying to get into. So you remember when Target had the big hack, 2015?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so Target got hacked pretty bad, and I used to go to Target a lot,
What?
the credit card thingy too, and I was one of
Yeah.
those apparently affected. So what Wells Fargo did on the 4th of July weekend is canceled my bank account and didn't tell me.
What?
Yeah, I order pizzas, and I'm on my way to a friend's house, and I'm thinking, you know what? I have no cash on me in case something happens because I have to go to a busy part of my town, my city. Sorry, I'm like, I don't want to go down there, find out their credit card machine. I mean, sorry, their debit card machine's down, debit and credit, whatever, and I have to go find a way to get money. I'm like, this is like the one in a few times I'm like, let's just go to the bank and play it safe. I go to one bank. I'm like, all right, it's not working. I guess the machine's broken or whatnot. I'm like, all right, I'll just drive to another ATM. Oh, whatever, you know. I got the same thing at both ATMs. My card is declined and shit like that. I'm like, I just used it to get gas last night. What are you telling me? You know, I have money. I just got paid today. It's a Friday, 4th of July weekend
Yeah.
last year. So I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I need to go inside the store and figure out what's going on. The dude tells me just point blank, oh, hey, we canceled your account. Why? Oh, the Target hack. You were affected. No, I wasn't. Well, we were playing it safe. Were you going to tell me? We were eventually, I guess. If you haven't found it.
Eventually.
Well, at that point, he realized I had not been informed, so it was like, well, I guess eventually at this point, he found out. He's like,
Hmm.
well, we need you to sit down and talk to a specialist, bank specialist, about getting your account fixed and a new card. And I'm like, great, awesome, fuck, you know, because I have pizzas that I need to go pick up for a party and whatnot. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this is awesome because I'm not sure how long they're gonna hold the pizzas, and I'm stuck at the bank. So the lady takes care of me and whatnot, and she's all like, all right. You know, the sad part of the story is she pulls out a fat stack. We're talking like at least 40 cards here, half of which are bad. She's
Damn.
like, when was the last time we did inventory? And I'm like, oh my god, you people suck. I was thinking in my head, I didn't say that out loud. I was going to yell that in the bank because, I mean, you know, there was no doors.
Yeah, it's a bad
Yeah.
idea. Definitely a bad
And the
idea.
manager's looking, and I can kind of get this whole shrugging thing, and I'm like, wow, Wells Fargo is awesome. I hate Wells Fargo. Um,
I was about to say we should probably stop mentioning their names.
but I hate Wells Fargo. Anyways, no, I'll admit the name. I might. I'm not sure. But anyways, so she finally gets me a card that works. As I get up,
Right.
she's like, "Oh, hang on, let me see that card again." Nope, it doesn't work. I'm like, "Oh God!" So I have to sit back down. Gets another stack of cards. Finally finds one that actually works. I know I just said that twice. I should have said that. I thought it worked before I said that. But this one actually worked and whatnot. And she's like, well, you seem to be squared away. And I'm like, well, thank God I didn't end up in the emergency room today. I just said it, you know. I,
Yeah.
I'm just so frustrated. I just said it. It's like, what if I ended up in the emergency room? I would have no way to pay for my bill. You know, my bank account was closed.
Yeah, totally. I just I like to see the difference in between how you handle the situation and how a Canadian would probably handle the situation.
Oh, sorry, no problem. My bad.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. In that same scenario, a Canadian would have apologized for having his account closed, and then the bank would have apologized for closing their account, and they would have gone back and forth like that.
Canadians.
Canadians.
But I thought that was a pretty funny story to tell with the GameStop thing. Because I had that happen to me. Thankfully, none of my money was taken.
Are you okay? Have you recovered since then?
No, because my fondness for Wells Fargo is still at an all-time low.
Yeah, we can tell. Right, guys? Guys listening over there?
Well, apparently our Triggercast number 2 is the most successful so far.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah,
Impressive.
yeah. It's successful in the terms of it just has a lot of views for what my videos kind of pull in, which is like next to nothing.
Excellent. We're finally gaining some traction. Oh, now that I said that, everybody's going to be like, no, fuck these guys. I'm not going to help you.
All right.
Anyway.
So we got time for one more point, and there's two left. Which one do you want to do?
Well, I think one is more important than the other, to be honest.
I'll leave that to your discretion.
Ooh. Oh, dang. All right. So I think there's been a couple public service announcements in this one. Huh. Interesting. So if you're listening to the podcast, as of now, Microsoft has banned all emulator apps in the Windows Store. What that means is I may or may not have, you can never prove it unless you look at my Play Store history, I may or may not have an emulator on my phone. And I know that some people out there may or may not have emulators on their devices, especially if you're in the Windows Store. As of today, there's a clause, 10.13.10, stating apps that emulate a game system are not allowed on any device family. Technically, they're illegal, but what this means is that you will no longer be able to get emulators from the Windows Store. So this is kind of like a Flappy Birds scenario, where if you have an emulator on your Windows device, don't delete it. Not that I'm endorsing illegal emulators. I'm just saying, if you have them and you use them, don't take it off of your device, because you won't be able to download it again. Unless you go to a less than friendly place that may give you viruses.
Porn viruses.
So, how do you feel about Microsoft banning emulators?
I was thinking about this chat before we had it at work because I knew we would have differing opinions on this. I'm going to take the PC perspective here and not be surprised because the Xbox is a closed ecosystem, so it's at the discretion of Microsoft. If they want it, they'll have it. If they don't want it, they won't have it, whether you like it or not. That's your risk of being in that type of thing. My overall viewpoint of emulation, though, is Dan and I talked about this about Breath of the Wild. I own a copy physically, so I don't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been the gray area. Is if you own a copy physically, emulation is not really frowned upon because you already own it. You're just getting it on another means of playing. Like, say, I want to play an old copy of Super Metroid, and
Right.
I don't want to play it on my Super Nintendo, but I want to play it on PC because, hey, maybe I want to record video or not, even though I can do it on Wii U now. But not everybody has that access. Or I don't want to buy a
Right.
Wii U to play this game, but my Super Nintendo doesn't work anymore, but I have a Super Nintendo copy. All right, I'll do the
Right.
emulation. That's where I'm fine with emulation. But where I'm not fine with emulation is when it comes down to flat out stealing. Like, if you've never owned that copy, I'm like, all right, I can see that stealing. We have rules and laws
Yeah.
against that. I'm not saying I'm perfect. We've all done things in our lives. I'm not going to sit on this high horse.
Napster era.
LimeWire.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's where I stand on emulation. And my viewpoints
That's
of the
fair.
store.
That's fair. That's fair. I have similar point of view. In the fact that I may or may not have only ever downloaded things that I had before on my PlayStation 1. But for them to close off the community like that, I feel like there's a certain bit of legacy there, because right now, like, if I wanted my brother to play a PlayStation 1 game that I played through and he never got to, there's not a whole lot of options for me, right? First of all, I would have to find a PlayStation 1 out in the wild that still works. I would have to have all the peripherals. I would have to have a tube television or a way to convert the wiring, right? So it's a lot of effort for something that you can very easily have on your phone or tablet.
True.
I feel like having it on a device like a phone or tablet makes it way more accessible to this generation. So, in a sense, the games that we grew up with are never going to die out. So, for them to close it off like that, I can see where they're coming at it legally, but in terms of gaming history, it kind of closes the market. It kind of funnels people into a place that they don't want to be in. That's what I think.
Comes to the PC where all games are backwards compatible no matter what.
There's also that.
Ha ha!
You're making really, really good points about switching over to PC on this podcast, and it's a little intimidating, I'll admit, as a Sony pony.
Yes.
That was amazingly evil.
I was going for that, to be honest. It actually really hurt my throat.
I'm sorry. Do you need me to help you? Massage it?
Your cock is not that big or long.
If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Triggercast.
I love how you say that after something really bad comes up, because it's like, oh god, they might have forgotten they're on the Triggercast.
Yeah, it's like our disclaimer, kind of.
I love it. It's just...
It's like we say something really, really bad, and it's like, okay, guys, remember why we're here. Remember the title.
It's funny, they like, for the people that can't pick up on camaraderie between two hosts, you know? Like no, we're just two random Joes someone picked up off the street, and we have to be friendly, but we really hate each other, you know? Like, really. I wouldn't do that, you know?
Yeah. No, it's been a long time. There's some stuff that can never make it to this podcast. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on who you ask. But there's like absolutely no line between Forgetful Hitman and Reaper Wolf.
Nope.
Just throwing that out there. So what you guys are getting is actually a very, very small snippet of how we're actually like. If you want a better look at how we are to each other, look up the Far Cry videos. Because holy shit, there's some bad shit on there sometimes. Actually, you've been doing a really, really good job of cutting it out. Just saying.
The personal stuff is our own business, you know.
That's
but
true.
The beating each other up camaraderie part, that's not getting edited out.
No, never. Just saying.
Like, that's another reason why I wish our hundreds of hours of Peace Walker were recorded outside of our minds.
Oh, man.
You know?
Yeah, but you also got to keep in mind that was a completely different era. That was way before, like, social justice warriors were a thing, or, like, outrage culture emerged into the internet. So there's some really unhinged crap that we said on that game. And it's like, you know, it's all, like you said, camaraderie, and we don't mean any of it. Well, we don't mean most of it. And, like, if that ever got out, man, we're both screwed. Just saying.
Not really, because, I mean, if someone's really going to take outrage culture or social justice warrior on us, it's two friends bashing each other. You know, neither of us are offended by it, so why should others, you know? It's not like I'm saying...
That's true.
It's not like I'm saying hang the fucking Chinese because all Chinese are fucking chinks and should fucking die. No, I'm not saying that. And as I'm saying that in a defensive mechanism as I'm not saying that. You know? That's not where our humor goes. Our humor goes more like the small penis type thing. Dick and fart jokes.
Yep.
You know? That's why you and I are so drawn to death. It's right up our alley.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Wah-wah.
Dang, it's like we're on the same level or something.
Could that explain why we put hundreds of hours into Peace Walker that we can't show the viewers or the listeners?
Yeah. Well, man, we gotta stop teasing them about that.
I'm teasing them because we'll have a way of doing that shortly.
I was trying to build the tension.
I like building it directly without taking it away. You like taking it away just to tease them even further. You're like a video game developer publisher. You want to put out the original date, and then take it away quietly, and then put it back into another spot. You're evil.
I learned everything I know about building tension from Michael Bay.
Oh, so you learned how to get women to come to your house to do private audition videos?
I had no idea he did that. I'm going to take that back and replace it with J.J. Abrams.
There you go.
This is the mystery box.
I will take J.J. Abrams. He called Daisy Ridley's acting wooden on the first day, but other than that, he's great. And she deserved it. Get your shit together, woman. It's Star Wars.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It motivated her. She's doing good stuff now.
Yes. $4 billion purchase. Our asses are on the line here. Act better, woman.
I want to see feeling coming out of your face.
Not that kind of feeling. Stop crying. Stop being terrified. No, I'm not throwing things at you like Sam Raimi.
Oh, man. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the 4th edition of the Triggercast. As always, remember our Ask FM is still open. That's ask.fm/Triggercast. That's TRIGGERCAST. If you have an Ask FM. If you don't have an Ask FM and you have a question, you leave it down in the comments. Remember to specify if it's for me, Forgetful Hitman, or Dan. He must have a handle.
His handle's Madjack on YouTube if you're using our YouTube names.
Madjack, there you go. I keep forgetting. There's so many names floating out there that I got to keep in my head. It's difficult. Anyway, remember, if you're putting a comment down below and you got a question, you got to specify if it's Madjack, Forgetful Hitman, or Reaper Wolf 91. You don't have to add the 91. We know who Reaper Wolf is. And we will answer that as soon as possible. And by as soon as possible, I mean the next podcast.